There are more applications for the CropScan on Combine Analyzer than we first thought. Since 2013, we've installed over 200 systems around the world. Farmers have provided us with new uses and benefits for the CropScan on Combine Analyzer. This presentation explains how the CropScan allows farmers to harvest harder, farm smarter. The CropScan on Combine Analyzer is a new precision ag tool that can increase farm income by 20%, decrease input costs by 10%, optimize protein and yield across fields, increase harvest efficiency, provide a new layer of agronomic information, the nutrient layer. The first benefit to farmers lies in the ability to blend grain in the field based on protein. By measuring the protein in the grain, then segregating and blending it, farmers can increase their crop payments by 10 to 20%. You cannot blend or segregate grain using yield. Only protein measurements give farmers an immediate mechanism to blend and segregate in the field or on farm. Farmers can ensure that they meet forward contracts by differential harvesting and blending. No other capital purchase by a farmer provides the immediate return on investment that comes from protein measurements. For example, Chris Nelson in Alberta, Canada, selectively stripped wheat from his field to first meet his forward contracts. He then harvested the rest of his fields. This way, every load was accepted, while some of his neighbours were penalised because they couldn't meet the required protein grades. Case Study 1 shows data from a farmer in central New South Wales, Australia. By blending in this one field based on protein, this farmer increased his payments by $10,134 as compared to their usual practice of delivering the grain to the silo and taking whatever price is offered. Case Study 2 shows how a farmer in Euston, New South Wales, Australia, used the CropScan to segregate his wheat crop in the paddock. The combine operator would take the bin average for protein from the CropScan's display screen and instruct the chaser bin driver how to segregate the wheat into field bins based on protein. The truck would then fill up from the appropriate field bins and take the 40-ton loads back to the farm to store in their silos based on protein. The protein, moisture and tonnage for every load was recorded in the CropNet grain data management software platform. The farmer's marketing agent, GrainWise Swan Hill, used the CropNet website to see the quality of the grain stored in each silo. GrainWise was able to find a buyer in Melbourne who would pay an additional $5 per tonne for 1,000 tonne of wheat if every load met the 12% minimum protein grade. In 2016, Mr. Follett calculated that he increased his crop payments by $20,000 by being able to segregate and blend grain in the field and on farm. The second benefit lies in the ability to decrease input costs, that is, nitrogen fertilizer. By generating protein maps for each field, then combining the data with yield maps, a nitrogen removal map can be generated. Using the nitrogen removal map and an understanding of the protein yield relationship, then farmers can develop variable rate nitrogen fertilization prescriptions where the amount of fertilizer is applied more efficiently across the fields and thereby reducing the amount of nitrogen fertilizer required. Case Study 3. A farmer from Western Victoria used his protein data from the previous year to develop a top dressing application by simply partitioning the field into 3 zones. If he had just used a blanket rate for this field, it would have cost him just under $8,000 in urea. By using this simple variable rate fertilization prescription, he used $6,732 of urea and saved just over $1,260 in this one field alone. The third benefit lies in the optimization of yield and protein. Steve LaRocque, Beyond Agronomy, Alberta, Canada, brought the protein yield balance to our attention. He points out that to achieve the optimum yield, you need to produce protein in the grain between 11.5% and 12.5%. If the protein is less than 11.5%, then it is most likely that the plant did not have enough nitrogen in the grain filling phase and therefore did not reach the full yield potential. By finding the sweet spot where the yield and protein are optimized in each field, then you're optimizing both the quantity and the quality of the crop. Yield only tells part of the story. Protein and yield together tells the complete story on how your crops have performed. There are 4 scenarios commonly found in the field as the grain is harvested. High yield, high protein. Low yield, high protein. Low yield, low protein. High yield, low protein. The possible cause for each scenario can be low yield plus high protein equals low initial soil nitrogen. Low yield plus low protein, under-fertilized throughout all stages of growth. High yield, low protein equals nitrogen limited at the grain filling stage. High yield and correct protein is the sweet spot, where you have sufficient nitrogen for full yield and protein. Case study 4. A young farmer, Broden Holland from Young, New South Wales, bought a CropScan 3000H in 2016. His intentions for buying the system were to develop variable rate fertilisation applications across the farm. In the 2017 harvest, he used his 2016 protein data to develop his variable rate fertilisation applications. You can see the difference between the 2016 and 2017 yield maps. He's able to reduce the variability in yield across his field by 40% as compared to 2016. 2017 was a very dry year, yet he was able to achieve above area average for yield by 0.4 tonne per hectare. In this field alone, he increased his income by $41.36 per hectare. Case study 5. These maps were collected from a farm in Western Victoria. You can see the trends and correlations between the elevation, protein and yield maps. The farmer used the 2017 maps to generate a simple variable rate fertilisation application whereby he applied 40 kg per hectare to the red area, 60 kg per hectare to the yellow area and 80 kg to the blue area. The fourth benefit lies in increasing harvest efficiency. Everybody knows that during harvest there are never enough hours in the day. The CropScan not only measures protein and oil, but also provides a very accurate moisture measurement. The comments we've been hearing from farmers, especially last harvest, was what a difference it made having accurate moisture readings. The CropScan measures the moisture using near-infrared with an error of less than 0.3%. Unlike the onboard moisture meters installed in most combines, the CropScan is not affected by surface moisture. This means that the CropScan provides far more accurate and reliable moisture readings that allows the combine to harvest longer each day. Being able to harvest for longer each day can reduce the time to bring in the harvest by days or even weeks. Last year, a farmer in northern New South Wales was able to continue harvesting while his neighbours had stopped due to soft rain showers that registered too high moisture using the capacitance meters installed on their combines. However, this farmer used the more accurate moisture readings from the CropScan to continue harvesting. He was able to get the grain out of the field and into his silos before a major storm came through and downgraded the surrounding crops. The fifth benefit is the provision of extra layers of information concerning nitrogen and sulfur uptake and availability across the fields. Seeds produce proteins which are made up of 17.5% nitrogen and 3.5% sulfur by weight. As such, every tonne of grain takes between 15 and 30 kilograms of nitrogen and 3 and 6 kilograms of sulfur from the soil. Yield only tells you the mass of the grain stripped. Protein tells you how much nitrogen and sulfur were taken from the soil in the form of protein in the seeds. Michael Ayres, a world-recognised soil scientist, states, "The yield map correlates directly to soil performance, and the protein map is a very good proxy for plant performance. The nitrogen data is what makes everything else fit together, productivity and performance. Together, yield and protein provide the complete story on nitrogen and sulfur uptake and availability across the fields. This leads to more accurate variable rate fertilisation prescriptions, thereby optimising yield and protein." We believe that the CropScan on-combine analyzer is the next piece of the precision agricultural puzzle, that is, nitrogen uptake and availability. Real-time protein maps provide a means for farmers to make on-the-go decisions on how to blend and segregate grain in the field, thereby increasing farm income. Understanding how protein and yield are related provides the farmer a means of optimizing the yield and capturing the best price for his grain, the sweet spot. Overall, measuring protein using the CropScan on-combine analyzer has the potential to increase income by 20% and reduce inputs by 10%.